This is a Honda CM400 C. And I'm doing a balance shaft chain adjustment on it. So in the book it says if you look through this sight hole, you can see this dimple in the end of this shaft. And from the factory, that dimple is pointing straight forward towards the front of the engine. If you don't understand that, I'm adjusting it into that position. Well, it's kind of spring-loaded. You can see it's springing back to tension the chain on its own. But from the factory, it's forward like this. And as that chain, sort of like this chain, stretches, and well, you can see it back there. If I can focus on it. That chain stretches, and occasionally, every few thousand miles, unfortunately just a few thousand miles, you have to adjust this tensioner. And so if I reach a screwdriver back there and push on the chain, it should, well, it's not going to turn that shaft. But if I turn this by hand, you'll see the chain go slack and the chain tighten up. So they say in the manual that you're supposed to, with this on here, loosen first this, not this nut that I'm screwing on now, but this smaller nut. It's a 12mm socket that you use. And you're supposed to just be able to crack it loose and this thing will auto tension on its own. But you can see this doesn't move extremely freely, and probably even less when this nut is tightened down. So I guess what I would do is I would just push down on it a little bit and just give it a little bit of tension, and that would tighten that chain. Because what would make that chain go slack would be a lack of oil or the engine pulsating and yanking on the chain, and just causing wear and stretch on that chain. And if you have it tight enough so that oil still gets in it, but not so tight, not so loose that it will go slack and the engine will yank it and put a lot of jolting stress on it, it should last longer. So I would push just a little bit. You can't really get your finger through this hole in the side cover, but loosen the nut and let it free fall, and just put a little pressure on it, just so it's all the slack is out of it. And then you tighten this back down to whatever specs they say in the book. Now they say the chain needs to be replaced once this dot on this shaft has gone from the forward position counterclockwise 180 degrees. Because after that point, this cam shape on this shaft will start to go slack again. So maximum tension is when the dot is another 90 degrees counterclockwise from where it is now to this position. So we're about half the lifespan of this chain right now. I have no idea how many miles are on this engine. It was actually off a bike that was found in somebody's shed, and it had a frame and different forks on it and no gauges. So there's really no way to tell the mileage. Compression is 95 in one cylinder and 100 in the left cylinder. And I was told it ran really good at one point. And then somebody wanted to make a bobber project out of it and never finished it. So I grabbed it to just have spare parts, really, but it turned out to be kind of a nice motor internally, and so I don't want to use it for parts anymore. So I ordered a couple parts, And actually through diagnostics I found out the stator that it has the same reading that mine has, so they're both probably good, and the electrical problem that I'm chasing is probably something else, maybe moisture. The engine loses spark occasionally, and it'll come back randomly on its own. Not sure what it is. I might go 40 miles on it, and then as soon as I turn the key off and turn it back on, I won't have any ignition. And then, for no particular reason at all, I'll turn the key on, hit the start button, and it starts right up and runs perfect. So, not sure what that is. But anyway, I just wanted to make this video of how to make an adjustment. So I'm not sure what happened there. My camera cut out. I probably just hit the stop button on accident. One other thing I wanted to point out was that this piece, you can only adjust so far. You go about 20 or 30 degrees and it runs out of room to adjust. So what you have to do is take this off once it's maxed out all the way. So once you have it adjusted all the way in one direction and you've ran out of room, you have to take the side cover off to get this bolt off, this nut, so that you can take this off, rotate it, and get another 20 or 30 degrees of adjustment out of it. And put it back on, put it together, and you can see on this shaft the splines are even all the way around, so there isn't like a dead spline or anything like that that keeps you from repositioning it. There's no timing on this piece. So you rotate that until this dot is 90 degrees over, and then it'll actually get more and more slack as it rotates the other 180 degrees, because this is a eccentric, I guess you'd call it, shaft, where there's a part of this shaft that's offset from this, so you only have 180 degrees of adjustment. So this one should be good for another, God, I have no idea, 8,000 miles or whatever the owner's manual says. As long as I'm making this video, I thought I'd check the owner's manual, since I want to give good information. That's the entire point of this, so I'll get back with you when I find the page. So there it is. Balancer. R means replace every, wait. Okay. A. 11,250 miles. You could have found that quicker than me, but working with a lot of crap right here. So that's kind of nice to have. There should be a page in here that shows how to adjust it, but that might be in, I guess we'd call it a service manual. But there seems to be a lot of service information in this manual. So maybe I can find the page. Oop. I guess you're going to see the whole manual. It's funny how these service manuals are always so clean. Like nobody ever worked on their bike. They had dirt on their hands when they're turning these pages. Pre-ride inspection. Yeah. There's another thing that I didn't know until, well, a pretty long time ago, is that when you're checking the oil on these bikes, all of these Hondas, you're not supposed to screw the dipstick back in. You unscrew it, you clean off the tip, and then you set it in without turning any threads in and pull it back out and check it, and that's your oil level. I always thought you had to screw it in. As a kid, anyway. It's not the way to do it. There's that again. There's some more good information. Yeah, look at that. No maintenance ever performed. This is on my bike, too. It's sitting right behind me. This is a pain in the butt also. This giant bolt underneath. That's a mess. Oil leaks out around this whole seam as you unscrew this, and that bolt takes forever to turn out because there's O-rings on it. And you have to twist it against those rubber O-rings. Pain in the butt. I think I skipped a page. Yep. What's that for? Oh, the brake lever. Don't need to know anything about that. And that's it. That's the owner's manual. So we'll just have a quick scan around here. Maybe there's some useful information that somebody can get out of this. If you're working on your own bike at home, that's probably why you looked this video up. That should be squeaky clean, so that kind of bothers me. That's a little cleaner. Here I have the side cover off. So I was looking for these electrical components. That's why I originally bought this. Here's the engine number again. I forgot if that's in this video. And we can also unscrew one of these. So let's see, can I lock this in? Focus. So that looks like a kind of rusty cylinder wall. Yeah, it doesn't look the best. Oh, that's the piston top. Okay. Good. That's just carbon then. And there's a pool of fogging oil I shot into it before I turned it over. And there's some little bubbles on the cylinder wall. Some gunk. Cool. Doesn't look too terrible. And I forgot if I mentioned the compression was 95 in the right cylinder and 100 in the left. So whatever that means. Maybe it's in that owner's manual. So that's it. You're welcome. Hopefully I helped someone. Bye. Hey again. So there's my bike. Just wanted to add in a shot of that. These are aftermarket mirrors from a Honda Grom and some kind of Rizoma handlebars.